Well, good evening, everybody. What a classic winter storm that we have unfolding here in the upper Midwest. This storm system has taken some by surprise, but it shouldn't have taken everybody by surprise. We were mentioning that there was going to be a sharp snow gradient across the Twin Cities metro and across much of southern Minnesota, and that is exactly what happened this afternoon. And I'm going to show you why we had so much snow and such a sharp gradient in that snow across the Twin Cities metro. All right, right now what you're looking at is the 700 millibar. This is the mid-levels of our atmosphere. This is the 700 millibar temperature map and wind bar map from this afternoon. I'm going to put it back to what the NAM computer model was showing at 1 p.m. this afternoon. What I want you to focus on is not only this obvious massive storm system over northwestern Kansas, but look at what happens extending northeast out of this storm system, and especially focus on what's happening right over southern Minnesota in the Twin Cities metro area. You've got winds coming out of the north at 700 millibars into the northern Twin Cities metro, and then winds are coming out of the south up into the southern Twin Cities metro. So right over the Twin Cities is where you get what we call a front. And we call it mid-level frontogenesis. And that was happening late this morning and early this afternoon right over the Twin Cities. And what happens when you get frontogenesis like this is you get air piling up in the middle layers of our atmosphere. So you necessarily do not have a front at the surface, but it's up above at 700 millibars in our atmosphere, and sometimes that is hard to predict, but this often happens, especially with major winter storms, so we shouldn't have been caught by surprise. Now, take a look at the infrared satellite loop, and you can see exactly where that mid-level front was located this afternoon. Look at the bright yellow clouds. These are cold cloud tops that developed at the mid-levels over southern and central Minnesota, in fact, right over the Twin Cities. And these bright yellows are intensifying cloud tops, which means they're getting colder, which also means they're dropping heavy precipitation. And that happened right over the Twin Cities. And look at this beautiful spiraling storm now that has exploded over northern Kansas and southeastern Nebraska. This storm system is moving to the east and northeast towards southern Iowa and Illinois. And there's no doubt that these thunderstorms now that are exploding over western and central Iowa will move northeast into southeastern Minnesota later tonight. And that's going to produce heavy snow with some thunder in the Rochester area and surrounding communities. Again, look at this beautiful pinwheeling storm system over the plains and upper Midwest, indicative of a monster and major winter storm. Radar over the upper Midwest is showing exactly what we were expecting to happen. There's that 700 millibar mid-level front that's located right over the southern Twin Cities metro. No snow in the central and northern Twin Cities metro, and now we're approaching 9 to 10 inches of snow over the southern metro as snow basically has trained over the same area for about the last 7 to 8 hours, all because of a mid-level front that's located right over southern Minnesota. This snow band is going to stay put or just slowly sag south over the evening hours, and I want you to focus on what's going on in western Iowa and now moving into the Des Moines area of central Iowa. These are powerful thunderstorms that are obviously moving northeast, and they are going to change, or the precipitation is going to change over to snow as it crosses the border of Iowa into Minnesota, and that will happen at about 9 or 10 o'clock this evening. So we're expecting thunder snow over southeastern Minnesota, including the Rochester area, on into western Wisconsin between 9 p.m. this evening and 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's when it could be snowing at 1 inch to 2 inches per hour in that portion of the state, basically the southeastern 1/4 of Minnesota. So no doubt this was a fun storm and still is a fun storm to watch. It's a classic winter storm, one that we've been waiting for quite a long time this year, and it finally has happened, and it's got a bullseye not only on the southern Twin Cities metro like it already has snowed there today, but now also on southeastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin. One last map I'm going to show you. This is the Novak Weather snow totals map What I'm expecting by tomorrow morning by sunrise, this map hasn't changed at all, but look at this. Bullseye of snow over southeastern and south central Minnesota from the Twin Cities southern suburbs on south to La Crosse and then the Minnesota-Iowa border near Albert Lea. That's the bullseye. Some snow totals may be in excess of 12 inches in the Rochester area and surrounding communities. And there may be even in the southern Twin Cities metro, Scott and Dakota counties, where the snow has trained on itself. There may be totals in that 10, 11, 12-inch range before it's all said and done. Wow, I'll tell you what, this is fun. I can't wait to see what happens overnight tonight. We'll give you updates on snow totals as we head into tomorrow morning. Have a good night.